So today, a slightly different setting from what you're used to. If you're just listening to the podcast, I think this time is the opportunity to watch the video, because I'm sitting here with Kate and Paul. We're recording an episode of the Yann Girard show, and we're literally melting. We're in Hanoi, in Vietnam, and maybe like a little background. So why the hell are we sitting actually? Yeah, so the reason is, and I was explaining it before, it's all about grabbing opportunities, and it's about creating your own opportunities. So as some of you might have noticed, the listeners or people that are watching it, I'm in Southeast Asia for quite a bit now, and I got the chance to, you contacted me on Facebook, Paul, I think, right?
Yeah, I saw you post out about being in Hanoi.
Yeah, so yeah, I posted about being in Hanoi. Paul got in touch with me and said, yeah, do you want to meet up? And I didn't really remember exactly who you were, but at one point I figured out, wait a minute, that is the guy and the gal who are doing this crazy thing, like 12 startups in 12 months, and like how many countries you've been to so far? Probably even more than 12, right?
Yeah, 22,
22
I think.
so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the people seeing it, those are folks who start 12 companies, 12 months, in 22 countries. How many countries left? Or how many countries are you still going to visit?
Two more.
Two more, yeah.
2 more? Wow. So, long story short, they are also shooting a documentary. How's it called actually?
It's called Startup and Deliver.
Startup and Deliver. I don't remember anything because that was more spontaneous. I saw the setting here and I thought, like, wait a minute, that's a great setting for the show. We're going to try it out, and if you probably cannot see it, but it was actually 2 iPhones, and we're recording, and actually there was someone coming here and they just saw the iPhones. They saw, like, okay, that's nothing professional, that's just some tourists. So again, long story short, spontaneously I decided to make a Yann Girard show out of it, because Kate and Paul have done something amazing, like 12 companies. I struggled to starting one company. So maybe let's reel back a little bit. How did you get started? Like, Kate, what made you decide this crazy decision? Oh, wait a minute, we have to quit our jobs. We're gonna go out there, start 12 companies. And what was going on in your life?
Sure. So we were always previously working corporately, but we were very involved in the entrepreneurial scene, so it was something that we were moving towards. I used to run like meetups and that type of thing, and just wanted to surround ourselves with that, because I knew that we wanted to start a business, and we just got to a point where we were very unfulfilled in our jobs. It was great on paper.
How long was that going on?
The jobs? Or?
Yeah, like they're being disappointed, not happy.
Probably about a year or 2, I would say. So I think that was kind of the reason we made such a quick decision. It was literally over Christmas dinner. We were just, going, okay, what's our goals for next year? And we said we really want to start a company. And
wait, that was Christmas 2013?
No, 15. 14.
14. Oh,
yes.
14.
Yeah. So late last year. And we had so many ideas, so we're like, okay, let's launch one a month, let's measure it, and that way we can be very structured and we can get things done. We can commit to it and make sure it happens. So we literally just handed in our notice the next day, and
so I mean that's definitely history, yeah. So I wonder, how do you make the leap? Like for example, probably traveling, starting companies costs a lot of money. Like what did you do? How did you even get the finances right? Like what did you do? Like where did all the money come from? Because nothing in life is for free, right? We even have to pay for this coffee right now.
So we saved up about what we believed was enough money to last a year. So
how much?
To give us about £10,000.
How much is that in euro or US? It's like 15,000 euro.
Yeah,
for 2.
Yeah, for 2. And then from that, so we built that up from our last couple of wages, and also we sold literally everything we owned before we hit the road.
Like what?
Oh wow! Everything from everything but the kitchen sink, I would say. So the TV, the couch, and a Porsche. Yeah,
okay.
The whole lot. that all went.
But that must have been a crappy Porsche if you only end up having 15,000 euros.
It
You
was
had an
more-
accident?
It was more of a classic item. So it was a 944 ST, which I did up over time, and yeah. So I guess it was worth more to me because it was the car that I had as a model as a child. That I was like, one day I will own this,
Oh, really?
and I had that model right up until we left and hit the road. And yeah, I did own one day,
Yeah.
and it was a good feeling. But the stresses involved in keeping that. And if someone literally walked past it in the street, I'd be out the window going, "Get away from my car!" And I was like, "Am I that guy?" And
Oh, really?
I did not want to be that guy.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because it reminds me of a quote of Brad Pitt in the movie Fight Club. Like at one point in time, the things you own start owning you, right?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing that you brought it up. So like, okay, you had 15,000 K. Did you plan anything or like what? Like okay, we just hit the road, get out there, or how did that even happen?
So we originally thought, okay, well, let's go to Asia because obviously you get a lot more value. So we thought, we'll do a quick trip through Europe, we'll see what happens, see if there's any opportunities, and then go to Asia. But we started to fall in love with Europe, so we stayed there for probably 6 or 7 months, maybe in the end.
Okay.
About 3 times longer than we originally thought.
Yeah. And I guess
Like
essentially,
what was so great in Europe? What was like the stuff that you didn't imagine? Like because you're from London, you're from Australia. Like what was the stuff that you thought like, what we have to stay longer? Like what was it? What was going on?
so we'll get given like talks, and so the first person asked us to talk, and then they kept recommending us around Europe to give more
It
talks.
was the cultural diversity. I mean, I was very, very shocked that literally, you can 1 minute be in Vienna, and then an hour later you're in Bratislava, a completely different country, and then another hour and a half, and you're in Budapest, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But they're also dramatically different from one
Yes.
another, and the further east we went, so to Romania and Bulgaria and Serbia, and you're just like, wow, there is so much of the world that I haven't experienced, and it really got quite addictive, I would say. Yeah.
So you briefly like dropped the bomb and said like yeah we gave a couple of talks, but how did you end up giving talks? Because I'm not like you don't walk casually around on the street and it's like oh yeah you just give a talk in front of an audience of a few hundred people. Like how did you manage to give talks? Because like you started from not necessarily from the bottom but you started from let's start from the bottom. So how did you end up giving talks? Like what did you do? Like,
I think for us it's just networking and just putting ourselves out there.
Us as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first one, I think, we had this goal and we wanted to make it public because, it's something that you can stay accountable for. If you say you're going to do something, especially to a lot of people, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So the 12 stars in 12 months, it was, okay, we're definitely going to do this. So a lot of people started to get interested in that. They're like, you guys are a bit crazy. Like, what are you actually doing? So that was the first talk we kind of gave. And then
where was that?
in Prague.
So how did you even find out about it? Did you reach out or?
No, so we were looking to attend an event all there, so we were just trying to go to as many events, meet as many people as possible, and that's when they found out about our profile, and I guess it was like,
Oh,
invite us
so you
in.
pretty much created your own look, something that we were talking about before. You got yourself out there. You went to you grabbed as many opportunities as possible, and at one point, first speaking engagement sort of came up.
And then he recommended us to someone else, who then recommended us to someone else.
Just
And
turned
it-
into a Euro trip.
it turned into a 3,500 kilometre, 7-country
Super
road
mega
trip.
trip.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, we had never given a talk before, so it was something very new to us, and kind of terrified us at the start. We practiced it for days. But
really?
in the end, we when we got there, it was actually quite a last minute thing because we had a few problems with traffic and everything, so we just didn't think
super
about
stressed
it.
out,
Yeah, so we got there and we
Yeah.
just delivered it straight. We literally went straight on stage.
But did anything go wrong or during the talk?
We were probably grilled, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's the most grilled talk we've had out of all the talks. We've done about 15.
What do you
now.
understand by grilled at that point? Like what was happening?
I guess just the detail of the questions that they were going into. So we were told afterwards that Czech people are very, what was the word? I guess they doubt a lot what you say.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So they want you to qualify what it is that you're saying. So we weren't expecting that. We were expecting, we'll do our talk, they'll ask a few questions, then we'll go out for a drink. And they were not, like, all the way through. Oh, what about this? So tell us how many hits you get in a month. So tell us how much money you're making. We were like, whoa, we were not expecting
and that was
this.
you just started like a week ago, right?
A couple of weeks.
A few weeks,
But one guy said to us in the audience as well, he's like, you guys look too happy, you're not serious, I don't trust you. We're like, okay, right, so we have to we learned a lot basically, about speaking and how to be authoritative.
Yeah, but I think that's like the best thing that could happen. For example, my first public talk I gave in English, that was probably 7 years ago, and it was a disaster. I went out there because I also made the slide deck. I was still at university, so I made the slide deck. I knew everything by heart, and then when it was a team presentation, right? And when it was my time to get on stage, to take over the talk, everybody started laughing, and I had no clue what was going on. And like during the entire 5 minutes, everybody was just like giggling and laughing, and I thought like, wait a minute, did I pee my pants or anything? I felt so uncomfortable. And then afterwards, it turned out that I actually said the exact same things that the guy before me already said, but my teammates didn't tell me. So because they probably thought it was funny, and it was funny. I mean, not for me, but I think it's always like the lesson that I also learned myself. But then it took me another 3 years to give a talk again in English because I was so scared and so locked up in the prison that I built around myself that I just suck at public speaking. And then I gave, ever since I started again, I probably gave 60, 70 talks. And I think it's really about, and your example is also something why I had to think about my first experience is, it was always been terrible. But once you get over that point of being terrible, it starts getting better and you improve, right? So how many talks did you give ever since?
So I think it's 15 in total.
15 in total.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So do you think you got better, or did you come up with some routine, something you do before you give a talk, or?
Yeah, much better now.
Yeah.
I think we're a bit more at first we're very British, and now we're a bit more fluid, and we can chat and just have a bit more fun with it and try to engage with the audience. Whereas before we were a bit too terrified, I guess, too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we bounce off each other more naturally now. So we were very, you say this, I will say this.
Yeah.
You say that's my bit. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's very loose and it's a bit more natural. I think from that you naturally give more value because you're relaxed and it's free flowing rather than I can't say that because Kate's going to say that in 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
You know
That's
what I
how
mean?
you started?
That's how we started. Yeah, it was very much like you do your bit, I'll do my bit, and
So, and how many times did it take until you were as comfortable as you were just right?
I'd say only 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It was quite quick, I would say.
Yeah, because they were coming thick and fast. So we were getting more and more comfortable and also more adrenaline pumped, I think. So because again they were coming every other day on that particular road trip, that it was like, oh my god, I'm so excited for the next one, so excited to meet loads of people, and then it was more of a oh my god, you were really pumped before you went on.
Yeah, because I think after the first one, we had a great time with. We went out with them afterwards and had a drink, and met so many amazing people. And we went, okay, this is great. It's such a condensed, almost just all these entrepreneurs together, and so we knew what would come out of each talk. So we were just getting more and more excited to, basically say yes to every opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got started. For example, you started. How many companies did you start so far? 10, right?
Yeah, we're on to our 10th, so hopefully be launching that soon.
When you started off, what did you know? Did you have any particular skills? Have you ever started anything? Or it's just completely from scratch?
It's pretty much from scratch. So, I mean, I originally had a little bit of development experience, and I did more I always worked in digital agencies, so I knew a lot about online.
What?
Digital agencies,
so
websites and that type of thing. So I knew a little bit about the digital world, and so that's the only bit. But in terms of business, not for a startup. Worked for
So your background was in marketing or?
Management, project management.
Okay,
websites.
Pushing papers around from left side to right side.
Exactly, that's
so
it.
Definitely not anybody who knows anything about how to start companies.
Completely the same. So my background is my last job was a systems architect, and so that I was designing large-scale web solutions for enterprise companies in the digital agency. So websites to handle X amount of connections, or this marketing campaign to scale up, to scale down. And,
But you basically did not really have any operational experience. This is very strategic, right? Or
yeah, I mean, so I did. I mean, we both did a little bit kind of traveling the world. So Kate went and worked in Singapore. I went and worked in India, and a lot of that was, I guess, very structured. So this is what success looks like. Build this team, get them to do this. So and Kate was more like, this is everything we need to accomplish. I need all these people to do it. You're going to do it now. Yeah, and she's very, very good at that. So
what was going on in your heads when you started? It's like, weren't you scared at one point in time? It's like, wait a minute, not only are we going to start a the company, we're doing it in different countries where we don't speak the language, where we don't know anybody. Like, what was going on? I mean, you must be completely crazy. Were you worried or not? Or?
No, we were just excited because we went, okay, it'd be amazing to have 12 successful businesses, but it's not very realistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even if we come out with one or two or a couple, a handful, that would be amazing. The very worst experience, there'd be a lot of learnings. So that's how we looked at it, and it's okay to fail or as we call it, retire an idea. That's fine. We haven't had to do it as yet, so the ideas are still growing slowly, and some of them better than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're completely okay to come out of this with only one or two.
So what was like? Did you never think about, oh wait a minute, I sold everything I had. I'm broke. I'm gonna end up on the streets. Or do you ever think about that or not? Like,
no, it was a strange feeling really, because I guess once we decided, well, we're both all or nothing kind of people, so it's like, are we going to do this? Yeah, we're going to do this, right, we are all in. And it's strange that all those possessions that we worked so hard to get, the most fun that we had was selling. You know what I mean? So all that stress, all that hard work, all those weekends of not sleeping, in the corporate world, focused on getting that next promotion, getting that next wage rise, and getting these nice things in the house. Literally the most enjoyment I got was opening it all up for a garage sale and watching people take it out of the house. And I was like, this is so, just felt like a new guy within the space of a few hours.
Yeah, it was like you took away all of the weight on your shoulders, right? So what do you think? It would have been possible if you did not sell everything. So, for example, if you still had like all of this weight carrying on with you from back home, do you think it would have made a difference? Or
I think slightly, because you always want to go back to that base, and I guess there's also expenses there, like to hold your items and that type of thing. Whereas you want to just be free and just open up ourselves to opportunities, so we can follow those opportunities. And
I think when you have no safety net,
yes,
you naturally you're working, or you're doing everything. You're hustling, doing everything you possibly can to make it work. And like you say, if I still had the house and the car, I'd be like, oh well, it doesn't work out, whatever. But now it's like it has to work out, because I'll be sitting on the street corner with looking for someone to give me a free coffee and McDonald's fries. I think so.
So you pretty much went all chips all in, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very, very valuable lesson, because I think I did not yet go all chips all in, at least not in the beginning, because I was always thinking, I can always go back to a corporate job. So you still have this safety net, sort of. But over the years now, what I'm doing this for over 2 years now, like my safety net gets like smaller and smaller. So, but I think like what you did is really, really smart. A smart move to like go all chips, all in. There's no freaking way back. And I think and I think that's one of the biggest problems a lot of people have, that they still have like 10 other things. It's like, if it's not going to work out, I can always go back. No worries. And I think that's what kills most people. And I think that's why I admire what you've done. Like you even sold your dream, where you sold your dream to accomplish your next dream. So, which I found really amazing that you, and even I love you for having said that, that this was your dream, because because that's like, you've got to sacrifice. It's always about sacrifice, and to get to the next step is always about sacrifice. So, 10 companies so far. So what was the most important thing that you learned about yourself? Because we always was like what you learned about yourself during those 10, 11 months into the project?
11 months. Oh gosh. I think we're quite surprised at what we can achieve, especially when you put yourself in the right environment. So I guess we kind of help each other to fuel each other and keep each other going. And just seeing a lot in the world, it just keeps us going, and we've experienced a lot. I would have never thought that we could start one, let alone 10 companies so far, as we've never started a company before. So this is definitely a first thing for us. But I guess just putting yourself out there and what happens, and just to keep going and just pushing past it. Like the talk, I was a really bad public speaker, and now I'm comfortable in talking about everything because
you're doing a great job, even you.
Thank you. I would shake. Uncontrollably.
No, it was too spontaneous, right? So you didn't have time to prepare. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's just as you keep going, you get more surprised at what you can accomplish. You take yourself to the next step, you get out of the comfort zone, and then you get to the next level, and further and further towards your goals and things.
I think you're touching on a very, 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 very good point, because like everybody thinks about entrepreneurs or people that live their dream. Oh, there's like these superhero kind of guys, and I think none of us looks like a superhero. We just look like ordinary, casual people, and I think what you're saying is so valuable, because it doesn't matter like what you did before, how successful you were before. Even if you look good, if you look ugly, I'm not going to say anyone else looks ugly or good, but so it doesn't really matter. And then if you just believe in yourself, like everything is possible. And I think you're improving it to the world, and you're proving it to pretty much everybody out there that, like, even if you're just pushing around paper, someone or someone who was a system administrator or something.
Architecture, design.
Yeah, I don't know what you do, but
it's a fancy name for
computer stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but yeah. So, and I think it's really amazing. Like everybody can. It doesn't matter what education you have, what college you went to, what you did before, and that's why I love what you're doing, and that's why I'm so happy that we're doing this here, because you're showing pretty much everybody what's possible within a short period of time. Like even I would never. I think like wait, I could never do this, and I've been doing this stuff for 2 years already. But then like you two come and show me like okay, it's possible. I was like wait a minute, I think everything is possible. Like from people that have no experience, and you just started, and that's why I think what you're doing is so valuable, and that's why I think like more people need to hear your story and what you're doing, because it's just brilliant. Like everybody, like a freaking kid in India could do this with no money. I mean, maybe 15,000. It doesn't have 50,000. We can say India, but anyway. So what do you say, Paul? What is like the biggest thing that what did you not expect that happened?
Wow. I guess for me it's similar to what Kate said, but I guess be around passion. So I worked. So like I say, I never really went to school. So I always say, even in the talks I give, my entrepreneurial journey started at school, because I used to find new and inventive ways not to go. And I would forge letters, I would come up with literally anything. And
wait a minute, you should have told me, I would have not invited you.
And I literally got away with it. I think one term I was absent 95 days out of like just over 100, so it was ludicrous. And so needless to say, I left school, no qualifications, and I then fell in love with computers, fell in love with learning, because it was something I was passionate about, and then I went full steam ahead and got to, like you say, I achieved my dream at that point. I was working in London, I had a nice car, and I guess what I was shocked at was, so that took about 15 years, being honest, and I was very happy with how I progressed, but then in these last 11 months, what we've achieved in these 11 months, blows that away like 3-4 times over. It's like, now I'm doing what I actually love and achieving so much more, and it's unbelievably fulfilling, and I didn't expect in the short time we've been doing it to overcome how proud I was of what I'd achieved beforehand.
So how did you manage to make the push? Because you achieved your dream, like the Porsche or whatever. Like you're working in London, no education. What allowed you? What happened in your life that you thought like, wait a minute, this was one dream, but somehow I have to go to the next dream. There's another dream, and there's a lot more potential inside of me. Like what unlocked this way of thinking that okay, screw this, I achieved this dream. Now I go to the next one, because I think a lot of people struggle with this. Like for a lot of people, also for myself, oh wait, I got a good education, I got my first job, bingo. Now I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. So what was like a specific event, or what made you like think like have a lot more potential like this?
I guess there was two things. So the first big one would be I used to do a lot of work in India, and as you can probably tell now on the camera, I'm perspiring a little bit. Magnify that again by 2, and I was in India on a hot day walking around completely lost, and this gentleman comes out and offers me water, and literally I think I was going to drop if I didn't have this water, and I looked around to go, where did you come from? And he literally came from his house was a few twigs in the ground, a bit of plastic over the top, literally had hardly any clothes, and right next to us this really nice house with these gates and a nice car, and I was kind of just stood there, and I was like, it was like a massive slap in the face of reality. It was like, just how happy are you? This guy's prepared to give you literally half what he has for free. No questions asked, just because he cares. Yeah. And then there's this symbolic house and nice car that I related to myself, and I'm like, I'm just, I guess for me, I felt I didn't want to be that guy, and I was that guy. Not the guy who gave me water, but the guy in the big house who doesn't notice everything else that goes on around him. He's just consumed in his own self-importance and possessions. And I was like, wow, I have to change. And then I was, always having these ideas, and then the next big thing would be meeting Kate. And I guess I always believed in myself to get to where I was, so I was very, very determined and driven to get to where I was in the corporate world. But I guess Kate gave me just that little extra bit of belief that, you can, it doesn't matter what you accomplish now, you can accomplish way more than that. And I think those two things paired up for me was just like, I'm all in.
So Kate, you were pretty much Paul's secret sauce. Or you were each other's secret sauce.
Yeah. I think something to add to that too, like I think they're very important points, but there's also, I think, the corporate world for us is something that pushed us into this. So we kind of we were in quite, I guess, high positions in terms
of... How long had you been together when you decided to do your job?
About a year, so we've been working at the same place as well, funnily enough.
Yeah, so that's where we met, and we worked together very closely on projects.
Having a job, you can also turn into something good. Definitely. You meet your secret sauce.
Yeah. Yes. That was definitely the best thing that happened in that job. Yeah. So by far.
Essentially what happened was we were pitching all these different ideas, and with all these grand visions of how we wanted to take the company, and it's just there's no after no after no, and we were like, we would do this, and we think it would really improve things, and but you don't have a lot of control, I guess you would say.
Not a lot
of control or say in it. So it wasn't very fulfilling for us, because it was just working for something that it wasn't changing the world, it wasn't making a difference really in anyone's life, to be honest. So
that's it. I mean, we always say if you want to be driving the bus and you want to be in control of its destination, you've got to be behind the wheel. You can't be sitting at the back waiting for your stop. And that's what we
had it in us.
Yeah.
So I like what you said. So how are you changing the world now? Is there something you do where you say this really changes people's lives, and not just another app, or maybe there's even an app you're doing, I don't know. Because I didn't really have enough time to prepare, so I don't really know exactly what you did, but...
I think that some of them are making an impact in people's lives. So, for example, the socially responsible marketplace, we're helping people in remote countries be able to sell globally. So they don't have any skills in terms of websites or digital. So we're helping them take them, they're selling them locally, but they're helping them sell them globally.
Like what kind of countries?
So we've got Kosovo, India, Kenya, we've got Bosnia, Pakistan and Congo.
Congo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
like
well.
how do you even get in touch with those people?
So the Congo one is a great story. So there's a guy, a really fascinating guy called Sean. I think his surname, forgive me Sean if you're watching, I think it's Gariso. And basically what he did, he was a journalist and he was in the Congo, and he basically came across this group of kids, and they were basically being sent to this war with nothing but a whistle, to basically blow the whistle when they saw someone with a gun. But which obviously didn't end well for them. They were basically just cannon fodder. And so he wrote this, and then literally he wrote that, and overnight he shared it with a few people, who then shared it with a few people, and then it just started this massive movement. And we were both very touched by that, and we were like, well, if we can help this guy, and help the people in the Congo to get that story out there more and sell more whistles and I guess promote that cause more, let more people know what's going on, then we will do it. And he was really receptive to it, and we got them on our site now.
Oh, and you're selling the whistles for?
Yes.
Did you already selling? You already sold something? Or?
No, so he was our latest one that we've got on the site. So literally, I would say last week. Last week. So yeah.
But you're already doing great advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really fashionable as well. So.
But yeah, I think one of the other things I guess we're trying to do is we're trying to inspire people. So when we give talks, it's out of just showing people that this is possible. Like it might not be the same path that you might want to take, but it's possible. Like whatever you want to achieve, you just got to take the steps. Like take that little leap of faith and believe in yourself.
Blogging about all the learnings, pivots, how that each business is doing, how much money they're making, how much money we're spending, just to show people that if you really want to do this, this is what it's taking for us. Yeah.
It might, for a kid in India, it might just take a bit longer to save like a few $100s, but still, then you're operating on a smaller budget. But then you also like, it takes maybe a little bit longer. Whereas, I mean, your dream, the Porsche, took 15 years, you said, right? Yeah. And I think that's something a lot of people tend to forget. Like when my mom always asked me like, so when will you start making like a lot of money? And I tell her, look, I went to high school and then I went to university. So education, I was like for almost 20 years of my life, I was either at school or university. And what came out of it was a meager 3,000 euro after tax. So, and that's usually how I can make my mom shut up, not shut up, but like she's like starts to understand. And that's something I think that a lot of people, when they see also entrepreneurs, that they don't really see the work that has been done before. As in my case, like I prepared for this for 10 years, you prepare for this 15 years. Maybe for you there's a similar story, or maybe it's just like Paul has such an amazing secret sauce that it's like
sadly that probably isn't the case.
It's taken a while.
Yeah. So, why are you in Hanoi now? Like you've been in Europe a bit, and then you've been like in a few countries in Asia already, or?
Yes, this is our first country, but it was mainly to do with the TV documentary, which is one of our startups. So
say the name again, I forgot.
Startup and Deliver.
Startup and Deliver.
Yeah.
Startup and Deliver.
Yeah.
Don't forget to deliver. Startup.
Yes. So we focus on emerging markets, and so we filmed in like a lot of Balkan countries and Eastern Europe, and then we heard a lot about Asia and Vietnam being one of them.
Yes.
So yeah, we've been interviewing entrepreneurs, investors, people with just an idea up to multi-million-dollar startups.
Yeah, we really wanted to just help, like Kate said, to help those emerging markets. And there's so much creativity, diversity. They're treading roads that haven't been, trod, if that's a word, or walked before.
Road less traveled.
Yes, that's it. So it's difficult, and also they have a lot of different challenges than we have in like the UK, Germany, Australia. So we were really interested in that, and we thought it would make good TV. It will make good TV.
And it's the 11th company or 10th, or is it also a company project or sort of?
So it was actually the 6th or 7th.
Oh. Yeah.
So when we originally pitched it and sold it, and then we've been on the road filming that ever since. So yeah, about halfway through our journey.
Okay. Wow. So you already sold it.
Yeah.
Living the dream. Selling your company before you even build it. That sounds a lot like Silicon Valley to me. So I don't know why, but I have to stare at your tattoo all the time.
I got addicted.
What is it? What is like the coordinates? Like what place is this?
Okay, so yeah, there's a nice story.
This one I don't care about. I want to see
okay.
or is it? Or is it?
They're links.
Oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
see. So I'll
Do we
tell
have
you this
enough
one
time?
first.
I don't know.
So my nan brought me up from a child. So from when I was young, she basically gave up, everything she was doing to raise me. So when she died, I got this to remember her, which is her date of birth, and then this is where she was born, and then this is where we live together. So they're constant reminders and inspiration to me to, that if someone was willing to give up so much for me, then why don't I just go and do it? You know what I mean? It's like she gave up so much so that I can do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So go do it, and that's the
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Like, what were you born?
I was a very unglamorous place. So I was born in Birkenhead on the Wirral, which is Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool in the UK.
See, even people from Liverpool can make it.
Oh yeah, Scouse and proud.
No, but yeah, that's a really, and I read it somewhere. But it reminds me of a story like this. That if someone literally gives up everything just for me having that life, and that's also probably a little bit also the reason why you're doing it, and get up every morning and
yeah, definitely. Even on the days where you don't feel like doing it, Kate inspires me to obviously keep going, but these are just constant reminders. It's like, and also
Will Kate also get a place on your arm at one point?
Maybe one day. I'm quite addicted to them, so yeah, definitely. All my tattoos have to mean something. I like it just because it's personal and kind of kickstart my feelings.
So let's not only talk about where you've achieved so far. What was the biggest setback so far? Like what did not work out? Because I'm sure it's impossible that everything just worked out just fine. Because it's never like. Is there something? A story you want to share, or something that where you're like, what the hell just happened?
There's something pretty big.
So we had
maybe it's too big.
Oh no!
No one actually. We haven't told this story, so yeah.
It's
exclusive.
I'll tell a short version of it. So basically, with the documentary, we started out with the crew, and so we're usually very pro lean. So we do everything lean. But this one we had a person that we partnered for the crew, and essentially it just didn't work out. So it was a different idea for the documentary.
Yeah,
and
it was a completely different idea, but
Or was it his idea or you?
it kind of come together.
Yeah, it was basically just our story. So, doing 12 in 12 months and kind of like a fly on the wall, how are we doing it, what are we doing? But I guess we didn't, around the same time it wasn't working out, we were like, we don't really like this being about us because, there's so much other stuff going on, and that this is where because you want to give everyone who's watching the most amount of information and the most amount of value. So our story is our story that maybe only relates to a small part of the market, whereas everyone's story will relate to someone. And we felt that was more of giving back and doing good was to help others rather than, I guess, ourselves. So
but it's a great story because what you did is it's not a failure, but something that did not work out. You saw an opportunity, and what you did is actually. Okay, let this not be about us, but let it be about the people.
Yes.
And that way you're probably helping a lot more people than just yourselves. Right? That's a great way. I like it how you turn it around. First of all, it's about us. Instead of being super depressed, you're like, wait a minute, okay, that's a setback, but screw this. Screw everybody else. We're just gonna make everything we have. We have a few cameras, so we're gonna make it, turn it around, and create an opportunity out of a failed thing. Because you were probably crushed. I can imagine myself. Wait a minute, somebody is documenting my freaking life. That is the jackpot. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, the jackpot is gone. But then you never really give up. That is.
I think the inspiration behind what we got was we were in Serbia, and unfortunately in the UK, Australia, and probably other parts of the world, they don't get a lot of good press. Which we were like, we judge people based on when we meet them. We don't judge it based by what's written in the press. And we went there, and they were some of the loveliest people that we've ever met. And Serbia was such an amazing place. Thriving. Belgrade's beautiful, Novi Sad's beautiful, and Yeah, the people are beautiful. You know, and we were just like, you know, well, no one's telling their story, and you know, their startup scene was, you know, they were creating all kinds of great things, and we're like, you know, someone needs to dispel these you know, all this, you know, bad press that they get, and people need to go and visit Serbia and see how amazing it is, and take note of their startups. You know what I mean? And we were like, yeah, this shouldn't be about us. This should be about the others, and that's kind of where it started to turn. And we were like, yeah, you know.
So, but you basically did not record anything during the first couple of months, or?
Oh, so it did, yeah. So I guess the end of the story was basically that we got to a point where it was like, it wasn't, well, we didn't feel it was going that well, and also we weren't getting as much done, so it was just, you know, we wanted to get like a lot of things done, and we were only getting like maybe half a thing or one thing done a day.
Yeah, and sometimes they weren't even turning up after we booked it, and so we'd have this talk, and we'd be like, this is awesome, and then they just literally wouldn't show. We're like, what the hell? You know, and then obviously you let all the people down who were there as well, and because they were aware of it. And
so we went back to like just ourselves, this documentary, and you know, we lost I think 2 months worth of footage, and with partners, so we lost a fair bit of money there. But it was like you said, we turned it around, so we were literally in Sarajevo, and we thought, okay, let's come up with this new idea, which we thought, and it was within like 3 or 4 days we went and pitched it, and got it signed, and they literally at the end of the meeting was like, we love it, because we went in with like all the different statistics, and we like overloaded them with everything.
What kind of statistics? About what?
I guess just how within the emerging markets, just what the startups were doing. So, you know, how big and grand their ideas were, how many were coming out of all these regions, and how literally in all these massive publications that everyone reads about startups, how they weren't getting literally any coverage.
5-10%.
Oh, yeah,
Not
even that sometimes. I mean, some people like Kosovo probably weren't even getting, you know, the page number size worth of words about them. You know, and we were like, this is wrong. You know?
So we basically proved that it's, you know, it is definitely an emerging market, and it could be the next, you know, Silicon Valley. You never know where the next Silicon Valley is going to be. So
there's a lot of young people there, a lot of money going into their education and tech and hardware, and we were like, you know, this is going to bring results, and it already is. People need to get onto it now before, you know, it already explodes, and everyone's like, oh right, crikey, you know, overnight success. And it's like, it's not an overnight success, actually. It's been this, you know, 3-4 year growth.
You've just never heard of it.
You've just never heard of it.
So what is when is your project done? Like, when are the 12 projects done, or is it a never-ending thing?
No, definitely not. So we were very structured. We said the name of the year, so it's a 2015 thing. So we've got 3 to go.
And what's next then?
I mean, we hope to continue to travel, hope to continue to live this lifestyle. That's the goal, and just to continue the businesses. So we need to evaluate the businesses, and you know, see if there's any we need to retire, or which ones we should scale, or like grow.
Retire,
faster.
you mean like shut down, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. It could be possible. You know, we could hire and keep growing things, but if it's just not, if the market's not responding, then there's no point.
So there's like one thing I've been asking myself all the time. How does your daily schedule look like? Because with so many different, because I struggle having like doing 2 or 3 different things at the same time. Like, how do you have a routine, or how do you do that? Is it because like you probably have to work on all of the 10 projects that are currently running at the same time, like every day? It's not like, okay, yeah, 1 week I do this, then next week I do that. No, it's all at the same time. So how do you do that? Like, how does your day look like? How can you even afford sitting here with me? You must already be making millions. I don't know.
So it's quite interesting. It's quite structured, I would say. So we used to prioritize at the end of every week, but now we prioritize almost at the end of every task. So we try not to work too reactively, but I guess it is a little bit like that at the moment. It's like,
I'm sorry if I screwed up your schedule.
No, gosh.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Yeah, it's great.
It is. Yeah, we just prioritize. We have kind of both lead particular projects as well.
Yes.
So you know, we're responsible. So that person keeps driving that one and does the day-to-day work as well. And yes, we use like an Apple Calendar list to document everything. So any thought we have, because creative types generally, you know, go off in so many different directions, and we do that a lot, but we're training ourselves not to, because we just will never get anything done. So once we make a decision to do it, we just have no excuse, we just do it. So you know, we say, you know, we've committed to it, let's go for it.
It's funny because actually, and I think that's what most entrepreneurs and myself get wrong all the time is like we tend to think, and I as well, that entrepreneurship is about creative, about being open, about freedom, but actually it's not. If you want to get shit done, then you have to be even more corporate than the corporation you've been working at before, because that's also what it ended up apparently works. But otherwise you wouldn't be able to like juggle around like all of these things at the same time, right? So it's interesting to see, also as a lesson for myself, that I have to get more structure into what I'm doing, and I think that's a great way that you reminded me also a bit about that I have to be a bit more corporate. I was also thinking about it all the time, but I tend to like just like ignore it a little bit. That you need a routine sort of. So when do you get up in the morning? At 6 or what time?
Yeah, like I mean, sometimes about 7. We're more of a late night people.
We tend to plan the next day just before we go to bed the night before. So like we use a technique called time blocking. So we'll, I guess your most important tasks. You put what you believe is your most productive time of the day.
What was the most important task for today?
Our most important task today was to interview yourself. Definitely.
And then
done.
And then done. And now you can go out and have drinks.
And then we build out the day from those tasks. We just, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a certain amount of flexibility in all of that because something could happen, on one of the businesses that needs that immediate bit of attention. But, we try and build that in. We try and say, these are the 2-3 tasks we need to get done that day. We have to get that done before we go to sleep. And then anything else, well, that's great. We need to get them done too, but then that's okay if they move. And it's very fluid, as it were, but with a few very rigid things in the middle.
Yeah.
So what time usually your day stops and finishes?
It could be, I mean, anywhere between midnight and 3, I would say. AM. It stops.
Oh, every day?
Pretty much, yeah. We work a lot, but we enjoy it.
Yeah,
So,
and we're keen we take breaks.
Yeah. So we occasionally, you come out and when you're working, because you're kind of sightseeing as well, because you're going to a cafe. You're
hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we also start the day with like a really quick exercise routine. So we do like a 7-minute workout. It's an app which we love. It's just very
really
efficient.
Athletics? No?
Okay.
So it's like you do as many of a certain particular exercise. I think there's 14 of them,
Yes.
so for 30 seconds, but it's great because you challenge yourself every day to do more than you've done the day before. So it's like so many press-ups, so many dips, so many running on the spot, and I'm like, by the end of it, you're like, right, I'm ready for the day, you know what I mean? I also need a shower, but I'm ready for the day.
And then we try to end with yoga, but that doesn't always happen, to be honest,
because we're sat a lot of the time, hunched up or like that, and so tense.
It's important to keep healthy. Because unless you just keep working those long hours for that amount of time.
Have there been any situations where you have been annoyed by each other, where it's like, wait a minute, I need some space? Because I think like live together, work together from 6 or whatever in the morning until late at night. It's just like a moment where you think like, I can't see her again, or I can't see him again. Like, has there been any point? Or maybe that's a point of discussion afterwards. Like, wait a minute, I need a break.
It's always really felt very natural, I guess, with us both, and because we work together very closely corporately as well, we already had a very good understanding from there, and then our relationship kind of went from there, and then now it's very much like, you'll be working on something, you'll be like, oh, what do you think of that? Oh, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, probably the only thing would be like if I start to waffle on like I normally do, and Kate's like, I'm right in the middle of something, you know what I mean, or vice versa, you know what I mean? But nothing that it's like, because normally when someone interrupts, it's like, you're like, oh, that's actually quite it. Oh, okay, and though you lost your trail of thought, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm really interested in what you're saying. So it's it works quite nicely. I mean, there'll go hours where we probably don't say anything to each other at all. But, it's nice.
So because there's something really interesting what I think you're doing right, and what probably I've done wrong all the times in my life when I was in a relationship, and a lot of other people, that you're growing together. So because and you're growing together on two things that you really deeply care about. Whereas a lot of people, like, they don't grow. First of all, they don't grow together, and second, they don't grow on things they both care about equally.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is like, and I like to compare this to technology. Like usually, like in technology, you have like this S curves, right? So usually, like when there's innovation, like the S curves changes, and what usually happens is that like couples usually you have like they start at the same point, but then at one point like someone learns a lot more, a lot faster, goes to another curve, but the other person is still growing. It's not that the other person is not growing, but it's growing on a different curve, like on a different innovation kind of curve. Whereas you took your curve you've been on before, and you went together on this exact same S curve, and you're learning on this exact same curve, and that's why I love what you're doing, because you're not growing apart, because you work. Even though there's probably a lot of tangent and you don't want to mention it, but still you're growing and learning both equally fast, probably different things, but equally fast, and on a topic you care about. So that's something that I just realized now, that this why you probably don't know each other right now, and maybe that's even the future about how do you grow together as a couple, or even also as a reminder for myself. It's always about finding someone who's willing to grow with you on the same kind of curve, to bring the curve together, and that's why I think maybe she deserves a spot on your arm at one point, or other way around. I don't know. So I have no clue how long we've been doing this, because the clock says 7:25, so it's quite a while now, and it's probably 2 o'clock. So is there anything for the listeners or the audience, or even people watching it, do you want to plug in the end that they should check out? Or there's probably a lot. Tell all of them. I'm also going to post a link below.
I mean, mainly it's just that, we blog everything on innerwanderlust.com.
How is it called?
Innerwanderlust.
Innerwanderlust.com, okay.
And we're always open for a chat, so if we're in the same country, we love meeting people.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Reach out.
Cool. I'll just also post your Facebook profiles below. Is Facebook good? Yeah. That's the networking app, right?
Yeah.
LinkedIn is dead. Like everybody uses Facebook.
Definitely.
Great. I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
likewise.
you.
Thank you.
And amazing location. It's been a bit hot, but it was definitely informative. And I wish you all the best for your next few projects. And I'm sure our paths are gonna cross at one point in time.
Definitely.
Thank you. Great.